Hey guys, how's it going? I'm sure everybody's wondering why I'm posting this video right now. I'm usually not the type to, share things about my life or what's going on. I'm usually pretty conservative. I don't share a whole lot on Facebook. But I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I want to share some knowledge that I have or some things that I've learned, especially pertaining over the last couple years, and I want the world to know about this, starting with Facebook, with you guys, whoever's my friend here. And I want to speak to you guys about making money, because I'm 28 years old. I currently have a kid right now, if many of you have not seen. He's 2 years old. His name is Jimmy. I named him after me, actually. And he's going to be 3 in October. And the reason why I'm writing this video is because I feel like, where I'm at in my life, and, I do plan to go further and things like that, but when I had my child, it made me realize that the number one problem you will always have in your life is not making enough money. And I'm sure we all struggle with that. Everybody has problems with making money. We all want to make more money. Everybody does. And I feel like I have learned the secrets to making more money, and having the ability to allow yourself to become something more than what you are currently. And I believe, and I want to start a philosophy with this, and a belief that you can do more. And with that, I want to tell you guys that, if you want to go anywhere with your life, if there's something, if you've ever been at a point in your life where you're like, I hate what I'm doing, I don't enjoy my job, I work long hours, I wish I got to see my kids more, I wish I got to see my family more, my girlfriend, my boyfriend more, I wish I had more of something. I'm sure we've all felt like that at some point in our life, and me being at 28 years old, I definitely feel like that right now. And we all know that if we want to change that, you're never gonna be able to make a change and have more of something in your life if you don't do something differently. So what I want to try to promote to you guys, an idea that I think may help you in your current situation, or for you to move further, that I believe what's helped me is the willingness to think differently. So I will kind of go into that a little bit more as I go into this video. I'll go into what I mean by that when I say the willingness to think differently, but just kind of keep it in your mind and think about that for a moment. But first, I think it's fair for me to kind of explain my background, where things have come. Most people that are probably on my Facebook right now, you guys probably graduated high school, with me, or maybe I don't know who you are. Maybe you're probably wondering, wow, I didn't even know this guy was on my friends list. So I graduated high school in 2009. So whatever you guys or whoever graduated in 2009, hey, good to see you again. So graduated in 2009. This is my kind of backstory. What led me up to this point? What's making me make this video? 2009, graduated high school. Moved on with my life. I dated some girls here and there. Everybody was always preaching to me about going to college, going to Allen Hancock. For those of you most of you guys, if you're on my Facebook, you knew where I was from. I'm from Grover Beach, California. And I eventually lived in Santa Maria for a while. I thought about going to Hancock and stuff like that. Decided not to go. And I always thought to myself that, hey, I'm going to regret not going to college. And everybody kept telling me, like, you got to go to college or you're not going to become something. You won't ever become anything. And so I stuck with it. I decided not to go, and all I did was just work. I worked and worked and worked. I worked several different jobs. I worked at a movie theater. If any of you guys are still my friends, I worked at Regal Cinemas in Arroyo Grande. I eventually transferred as a shift leader over to Edwards Cinemas in Santa Maria. I worked there for a year or so after transferring from Arroyo Grande. And after Edwards Cinemas, I eventually got into a company called Hardy Diagnostics, and I know some of you guys are still probably still working there, and I'm sure I'm still friends with a lot of you guys. So it's good to see all of you again as well. So yeah, I worked at Hardy for about 4 or 5 years. We were doing like making medical testing equipment for microbiology. Eventually got out of there. I decided to move on, and I actually dropped back down to a lower paying position. I eventually started doing security again, which I was partially doing at the time while working at Edward Cinemas, which I forgot to mention. So did some security for a while, for about a year or so, and then I kind of felt like I hit a point where I wanted to achieve more. I wanted something more with my life, and I felt, I guess, ambitious in a way, and there was something more that I wanted. So what I did was, I eventually learned about a website, which is also an app you can get on your phone and stuff like that. If you guys ever heard of live streaming, live streaming is basically, you know, they have all kinds of different forms of live streaming, but the type of live streaming that I learned about was video game live streaming. So what that is, there's a website called Twitch TV, and I eventually became a broadcaster on there, which I did for about, I'd say 2.5 years. I was a broadcaster on there, and you basically record yourself, just like I'm doing right now. You record yourself playing a video game to an audience. So there's many people that can come into your channel. It's kind of like a chat, you know, website, but you're chatting to the person that's playing the video game, which is really cool. So I found a lot of interest in that. There's a guy who really inspired me. If you guys know who he is, his name is Summit1G. So, you know, shout out to Summit1G. He inspired me to become a streamer. So I went for it. I went all in. I spent thousands of dollars, bought a nice computer, and I put my heart into it. And I wanted to become a streamer. And the reason I did was because I wanted to make something of myself. And, you know, Summit1G, you know, some of these guys on Twitch TV, if you haven't heard of it, you know, they make a lot of money. Some of these guys are multi-millionaires. Sometimes they're probably making more. So, you know, I wanted to do something big is the point. I wanted to do something big. So I reached into the world of becoming somebody semi-famous, I guess you would say. So I did that for 2 years, and I don't think I really got very far. A lot of people like to say I was doing pretty well, which I would say I was. Give myself a pat on the back. I was doing okay. And I was continuing that while I was living in the 5 cities at the time. After I eventually had quit my job doing security. So I practically went full-time and invested everything into this. So I eventually became a broadcaster on Twitch. Like I said, did that for about 2 years. And eventually it brought me out to where I'm currently living now. I'm living in Las Vegas. So I moved from Grover Beach all the way over here to Las Vegas. I was dating a girl at the time. We moved out here, and, you know, we made some plans together to where, you know, she would go and get a job, and I would focus on live streaming. And I was making money doing it, but I wish I was making more. So I did that for about another year out here, and eventually things just fell apart in my relationship. They just didn't work out. You know, we separated, and it basically was what I would call the end of my career on Twitch. So I decided to end that, and then what I did was I just went back to work. So I eventually got a job. It's kind of funny, no one would, if you know me, you know, you'd never think that I'd work at a strip club, but I got a job at a strip club. One of the most popular strip clubs out here in Vegas. I was a security guard there. I worked there for about maybe 8 months or so, I want to say. I worked for Sapphire, Sapphire Las Vegas Strip Club, one of the world's largest strip clubs. So worked there for about 8 months, and about maybe 4 months or so into my employment there, I met, you know, the woman of my dreams. Her name is Lizeth. If you guys seen pictures of her on my Facebook, Lizeth Silva, she's the mother of my child now. So, you know, things have been working out for us. We moved really quick in the beginning. We had a baby and everything, you know, transpired very quickly. And throughout that event of having a child, it taught me one important thing, which was what I was kind of mentioning earlier, that you never have enough money. And I feel like I always struggled with that. You know, when my child was born, I started looking into ideas to make more money so I wouldn't struggle. And mainly the reason why I was looking for these opportunities was because, if I talk a little bit about my past before high school, as a child, I was very poor. I've been to shelters. I've been in any poor place you could possibly think of. Literally on the streets practically is how it seemed at times. Always had low-income housing. We never had money. I could never even ask my mom and say, hey, can I get a couple dollars to go get, some cookies at school in 6th grade or something. So my childhood was just very rough, let's say. It was just very poor. I didn't achieve much as during those years, and it really affected my motivation and things like that. And then what really hurt me, and what's kind of my motivation today as well, is when I turned 15, my mom got sick. For those of you, some of you may know, some of you don't know. My mom got sick, and she was actually the only person in my life at the time that I relied on, really. My father was taken away from me when I was 11 years old because from 0 to 11, basically, he was an alcoholic, and he still is today, which is unfortunate to say. And he basically just ruined our lives. He was always drunk. He cheated on my mom. He did horrible things to everybody. I saw a lot of things I shouldn't have seen. My sister Christina, if you guys know her, she saw a lot of things she shouldn't have seen, and it affected all of us in numerous ways, and it contributes to where I'm at today. So eventually my mom got sick at 15, and she passed away to cancer within 1 month, and that was a huge tragedy to me. It felt like it ruined my life, and it's still hard today. It's still hard today, and I have to live with that. But with these experiences that I've had, and like I said, my father was taken away at 11, so you can imagine the things that I had to deal with at a young age. And why this pertains to what I'm talking to now is that it influenced me to start thinking immediately. And what got me thinking was really my child. My child was the one who, really, really pushed it for me. It made me realize that I had to do something more than just get a job, because my mom always just had a job. My dad, he had jobs intermittently, but he was a drunk, so he couldn't maintain a job. He'd get a job and then get fired because he wouldn't show up because he drank too much the night before, and all these different scenarios. And my mom always did the best she could. She always tried to get the best job she could, but she could just never make enough money to support me and my sister, and take care of us and all these different things. So we were just always poor. I just feel like we were just cursed or something. We just always had it bad. So like I said, all these things contributed to the way I feel now, and it's pushed me and drove me to try to achieve more than just work. So what happened to me is just going back a little bit, is when I was telling you earlier that I was searching for opportunities to make more money than just an average job. What I did was I dropped eventually just working for a corporation, and I actually started to lean into 1.5 more time with my family, but make good money. So I was told about a few friends here in Vegas that I knew at the time, that you can make good money driving for Lyft and Uber and things like that. Little do we know, if anybody's driven for Lyft and Uber, you don't make good money. But I thought you did. I guess you could make good money. It just depends. But from my experience, I didn't make a lot of money. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I was told I was going to be making crazy amounts of money, and it just wasn't what I was told. So I drove for Lyft and Uber. I did that for maybe a year, something like that. And I eventually found out about Amazon, and you can deliver for them. You can deliver packages from them, and they have a distribution center. You can go pick up the package and deliver it to people's doorsteps. You get paid per route that you do. You get a set number of packages. So I did that. So what all that did for me was it kind of got me in the mode of understanding what it's like to work for yourself. The reason why I'm telling you about this whole self-employment thing is because to me, this is where I think it really started. It started to open my mind, first of all, with self-employment. And what happened to me is I feel like I just got extremely lucky. So here's the story. I was driving for Lyft and Uber one day, and I was heading over to pick up a passenger. So I went to go get my passenger. I picked him up. I believe I picked him up at the Westgate Hotel, for anybody that knows about, Westgate Hotel here. I picked him up there, and I was taking him to, I believe, the convention center or something like that. I can't remember where I was taking him. So I picked him up. Actually, I was taking him to Alara. Sorry, I took him to Alara, from Westgate to Alara. So I picked him up, and he hops in my car, and we just kind of started chatting a little bit. He asked how my day was going, just normal chat. And I don't know what happened, but just out of nowhere, and I feel like because of this whole idea of me learning about self-employment, I feel like I got a little curious. So every time I would meet these people, like driving for Lyft and Uber was a huge experience for me, because especially here in Vegas, because so many people fly here from out of the country. They come from all over the world. And most of them are all business owners. They come here to the conventions, the conferences, you name it. They're here all the time, and companies pay business owners companies pay their employees to come out here. He wasn't an employee; he was actually a business owner, which was really huge. But that's how it works. So I ran into somebody who was in the business, which I had run into many people before. So anyway, we're chatting it up in the car. And after a while, I don't know what it was, but I guess I just got curious, and I was like, hey, what do you do for a living? He was like, well, I own a few companies, and I've been doing it for many years now. He told me he used to own a power plant and do all these big, amazing things, and I thought, wow, it would be nice to accomplish all those things. And so, we just kept chatting more about it. He started telling me more things about what he's doing. And then he asked me, he said, Jimmy, what do you, obviously you drive for Lyft and Uber, but is there anything you want to do beyond this? Like, what do you want to do? And I told him, by the way, his name is Ed Ingles. Shout out to Ed Ingles. He's an amazing man. He's what taught me everything I know today. So love that guy. Great dude. So anyway, I'll refer to him as Ed from here on out. Sorry, I should have introduced him earlier. But like I said, it's my first video. I never put a video out before, so I'm a little kind of just going off things here. So anyway, Ed asked me, he's like, hey, Jimmy, what do you want to do with your life? And I told him, I said, you know what, to be honest, at the time, I was just shooting for something that was going to be paying well. All I understood was work. So I told Ed, I said, hey, you know what, to be honest, what I feel like I would enjoy, or what I would want to do, I've always kind of been interested, for those of you that may know me, I've been kind of interested in law enforcement, but I never really wanted to be a cop. I did actually start to go through the recruitment phase for corrections, but I decided not to do it. I changed my mind. But ultimately, I felt like at the time what I wanted to do, what interested me the most, was to become a Border Patrol agent. So I told him that. And I said, well, I want to be a Border Patrol agent. And he said, oh, no. He's like, nobody wants to do that. That's work. And I thought to myself, I was like, what do you mean that's work? That's how we make money. What are you talking about? And so, it kind of dawned on me, and I was wondering why he said that. I was like, most people don't tell you that. They usually say, yeah, go for it. Go get the best job you can get, make as much money as you possibly can, and live your life. That's what they tell you. And he didn't say that. He said, no, you don't want to do that. So I can't remember everything else we talked about, but we just kept chatting along. But I just remember thinking about that, and I was like, there's got to be meaning behind that. What am I not seeing here? And as we got closer to the destination of dropping him off, I guess he saw that I seemed very interested, that there was a little piece of my mind that was just opened enough to find enough curiosity for him to invest himself into me. So he told me, he said, hey, Jimmy, all right, I'm going to offer you something, and I don't normally do this. I'm going to give you an opportunity to change your life. All you need to do, here's my card, here's my business card, there's my email. When I get back home, He lived all the way in Florida, or he still does. He said, when I get back home, you can send me an email, you can think about it, whatever you want to do, no obligation. But if you want to, you can send me an email, and I will, I will respond to you, and I will offer you an opportunity to change your life. And that's exactly what he did. So I remember that day after I dropped him off in the car, I immediately, I believe if I remember, I immediately called up my girlfriend Lizette, and I was like, hey, I need to talk to you about something. I just met this guy, and I don't know what he's talking about, but I feel like there's something about this that I need to understand. There's something I need to learn, and I feel like I need to email him back. So I remember, I believe I rushed home soon after that, because I just felt like there was something big about it. So I came all the way home, and when I got home, I told her immediately what happened. And I said, hey, I met this guy, yada, yada, yada. This is what he said. What do you think about this? Should we message him? So Liz was like, well, I think you should. I mean, what do you got to lose? If he's going to be genuine with you, just be careful, because there's scammers out there and whatnot, you don't want to get scammed or something, but just, go and see what happens. So I did. About 2 or 3 days later, I kind of juggled it back and forth, but I eventually came to my senses and did it. I emailed him back, and I was like, hey, Ed, I'm writing you back. And, I told you, and actually, I forgot to tell you, but I told you that, or I told him that I would, email him back, which I did. And he was very happy that he got an email from me. And I told him, I said, hey, what do I need to learn? What am I doing wrong in my life? What can I do different? So, he was very excited, and he told me that I was the only person, and he had done that hundreds of times, maybe thousands, I don't know. But he did it many, many times with different people, and not one person but me emailed him back. So what does that say? That most people don't have the willingness to think differently. Something about me, maybe because of what I've been through, maybe the desperation or what I was going through at the time. I was struggling with money, and I had my baby to take care of, and Liz to take care of. She wasn't working at the time, and maybe I was just kind of desperate, and I wanted to try something new. But I did understand one thing, that I was not going to make money right away. So he started exchanging ideas with me. He started filling my mind. He immediately went into giving me long, lengthy emails, filling my mind with the understanding of, you don't go to work to make money. You figure out a way to make money by becoming an entrepreneur. And that's kind of what I want to go off of when I talk about the things that I'm talking about in this video. And I want to say that I'm an entrepreneur. If you guys haven't seen that by now, if you see my Facebook page, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a lot further along than I used to be at that time. This was roughly about 2 years ago, towards the beginning when my son was just born. Like I said, he's 2 years old. So, I'm at a different point now. And, he taught me so much, and it opened my mind and changed me. It rewired my brain, I want to say, to make me think differently. So now, I've actually, I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary in August. I believe early August, I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary that myself and my girlfriend Liz, we've actually both been jobless, and we're not bums, we are entrepreneurs. We make money without having to go to work. And I can go into that a little bit about this in this video, or maybe I will make another video. I do plan to make more videos, and I want to help other people understand exactly what Ed taught me. And not just that, but I want you to understand that there is more beyond what you see right now. So like I said, if you hate your job, you probably heard this a million times. It sounds very cliche. If you hate your job, you don't like where you're at, you wish things would change, but they don't change. The reason why they don't change is because you don't make changes. You have to have an open mind, and you have to be willing to think different. than the average person. And that's exactly what I did that day. Most people would not reply to him. They didn't think differently about it. They were just like, no, I don't want to do that. That sounds like too much work. I'm going to stick to my job and have my my secure paycheck every 2 weeks, and that's all I want to do, and then have my days off, and that's it. And that's okay if that's what you want. But that's not what I wanted. And the reason why I didn't want that is because I saw my parents go through that. And my parents struggled immensely struggled, and could not provide for me and my sister. And I had to ask myself, well, if that doesn't work, then what does? And we all know there's incredibly rich people out there. And they're just like you and I. They're no different. It's all about you believing in yourself, which again sounds so cliche, but you just don't understand yet. Or maybe you don't, maybe you do. You can do this. I told myself the same thing when I first started. I thought I couldn't do this. How I actually first got started, which I believe is one of I'd say there's about 3 or 4 things of key points on things that you need to do for yourself in order to become an entrepreneur and become something more than what you are now, in terms of just building up your finances and moving your income higher. All right, sorry guys, I'm back. I kind of blanked on what I was trying to talk to you guys about earlier, so I'm gonna have to edit the video a little bit. But where I was going with is that there's some key points that I think where you basically there's a like stepping stones of a learning process of more than just learning to think differently. I think that you first have to be at a point in your life, just like I was, where I was struggling with money. I didn't know what to do. I felt like just getting more jobs and spending more time away from the family was the only way to do it, which doesn't make sense up to the point where you want to enjoy your life. You can't just work all the time. And I feel like that's important to start like that. If you're at a point in your life where you feel like you are in a position where like I said, you hate what you do and you don't want to do it anymore, I can promise you the only way you're going to change it is if you learn how to make money without working for it. That's the only way you will learn to make more money. Sure, you can go to college, everybody tells you to do that. You can go to college and maybe you can land a job as a doctor or something, a surgeon, whatever you want, right? But at the end of the day, it's always just a job. And some people love what they do, don't get me wrong. If you love what you do, then keep doing what you're doing. But these are for people who don't enjoy what they're doing. They don't know what they want to do, maybe. They don't know whether they think school is right for them. And I don't blame you. I didn't think school was right for me either. And I still don't think it is today. And I promise you I will never go back because I don't need it. Because what's important is what your school did not teach you. When you were in school, you were not taught a financial education. That's what you need to make money. You don't make money by going to work. You make money by using your brain. And that's what I want to try to help people with, this whole idea of thinking different. In order to be different, you need to think different. So one thing I wanted to kind of explain to all of you, which falls under thinking different, is I don't personally believe you can ever fully even understand what I'm talking about. Some of you might stop this video because it doesn't make sense to you or what it might be. But the reason why most people don't become entrepreneurs, or they don't choose to create value for their life on their own terms, as opposed to going to a job and making money at a job, instead of just becoming an entrepreneur and making money on your own, the reason why they don't do that is because there's something I'm going to share with you guys that Ed, the man who taught me all this, shared with me. And I promise you, if you can learn to do this, you will learn to think different. And what that is something that he called the box on the head theory. Okay? You have to imagine that you have a box, like literally a box. Think of a cardboard box on your head, all right? This cardboard box on your head is what you were born with. You were born to only see things inside this box. You were not born to see outside of it. Just like they say, think outside the box. It's similar, right? But with the box on the head theory, what it means is because you can't see outside of that, you don't have the ability to see things the way entrepreneurs do. So what you have to learn to do is you need to get this box lifted up off your head. So for example, I feel like the box was kind of lifting a little bit for me partially when I started getting into self-employment. I started to learn that I wanted to make money on my own. Once I met Ed, he lifted it up just enough for me to get a peek to see that there was more opportunity than just working. And once he did that, he once I emailed him basically, he filled my mind with so much information that would not allow me to go back to thinking like an employee, if that makes sense. And I may not be explaining this the best way, but I'm trying my best to teach you based on what I think is somewhat of an intermediate level. I'm not a rich entrepreneur yet, but I feel like I've learned enough to the point. I've been doing this for several years now. I've learned enough to the point to be able to help other people get on that first lily pad, or stepping stone. Get on that first stepping stone to achieving what everybody calls financial freedom. But in order to do that, in order to get to that first step, you have to first, like I said, identify that you're not happy with where you're at. And then once you can do that, once you can see that you're not happy with where you're at, that's when you're going to start thinking. And then when you can get out there and find a way to remove that box, the best way to do that is to find somebody who's willing to mentor you and teach you to get that box off your head. Because you will never understand what it means to work as an entrepreneur and not get paid for your time spent. Because when you go to a job, you clock in, you get paid for every minute that you're working. As an entrepreneur, you don't get paid like that. That's not how I get paid. You get paid based on results and what you bring to the marketplace, the value you bring to the marketplace. That's how you get paid. But you get paid based on using your brain. That's how you get paid. So with the box on the head theory, going back on that, you have to figure out a way to get that up off your head, because let me put it in simple terms for you. When we were all born as kids, like I said, you had a box on your head. If you were just a normal kid, your parents weren't wealthy, if they weren't business owners, they don't understand anything about business at all, and your parents just went to work, which just like a lot of them did, just like my parents, they just went to work. If that's all you ever saw as a kid, you got a box on your head. And because you got a box on your head, it limits you from seeing more potential. I hope that makes sense, but because you have it on your head, you can't see more past that. So you have to figure out a way to remove it. With removing that box on your head, it'll allow you, trust me, it'll allow you to see more. And here's my advice for people who want who kind of understand what I'm talking about. You won't fully understand if you don't have any idea about business or anything like that. But if you can understand this, the easiest way that I've experienced, other than finding somebody to help you remove it, you can find someone to help you remove it, but another way that I think that worked best for me, the world of business, it works in one simple way. You get one thing, it's like a phone or something, right? This is another simple way to help you understand that you can make more money, potential more money, making money off of something as opposed to going to a job. If I get this phone for, let's say I buy this phone for $50, right? And I find a guy named John, and I say, John, you want to buy it for $150? I profited $100. I spent $50 on it, sold it for $150. I profit $100. Once you can understand that you can take something and turn it into money, that's business. That's business already. You already understand it. And that will begin to lift that box off your head. So when I first started learning about this, actually going into it physically, what I did was I took my chances with, and I didn't have a lot of money at the time. This is going to sound ridiculous, but I really did not have a lot of money at the time. I went and started to think. I thought about, because everyone always wonders, what could I sell? What could I sell to make me money? And I just sat and thought about it, and I was like, what is something that everybody has that they may need to replace, or something that everyone's going to need? And that's really hard to think of. But I sat a lot and thought about it. I actually started selling stuff in my house, just like, random little things, shoes and stuff like that, whatever I didn't need. Where did I sell them? Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, if you ever heard of OfferUp, Letgo, Craigslist, whatever you can, wherever you can, sell them locally, make cash for it, understand how this works. So going back to it, what I said that I started with, after I sold all my stuff in my house, I started with that and made some money, okay? But when I made my first initial investment of my own money to better understand how this works, I spent $10. That's all I spent, $10, okay? I went on eBay and I bought a pack of iPhone chargers. So I found a wholesale lot, or like a bulk lot of iPhone chargers. I bought 10 for $10, so I spent $1 on each charger. So what I did was I took a risk on $10, which is exactly what business people do. They take risks all the time, and I do it every day. So I bought that pack of chargers, once it came in the mail. Once I got it, I started posting it on OfferUp and a web app called Letgo. I wasn't using Facebook Marketplace at the time. So I posted them on there, and little did I know, within 1 week, all 10 of those were sold. So I sold them at $5 a piece. So that means 5 times 10, $50. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot of money, but to me, that opened my mind even more to make me realize if I could figure out how to scale this, now I can make real money. So I did it again. I went back on eBay, bought another 10, sold them quick in another week again. Went back again a second time, bought 20. And then about a week and a half, got rid of all 20. So before I knew it, I was making side income from selling iPhone chargers. And you can do it too if you want. You can take my idea, that's fine. Go buy iPhone chargers on eBay for $1 each and flip them. It's easy money. I still do it today, believe it or not. I'm still doing it. Every now and then some people hit me up and they want a couple chargers, I sell it to them. I don't rely on it anymore, but it's still cash, it's still money. So why not? So that helped me open my mind. Like I said, it helped me open my mind to the idea of there's more out there to making money than just going to work. Okay? So it really opened my mind, and it made me realize that I could do more. And I guess I'll give a little bit of a little bit more backstory on where I'm at currently. What am I doing right now? And I'm sure some of you might want to know, right? What is he doing? How far has he come? So you can get an idea of how this kind of thing can manifest and change for you. And if you have a very imaginative mind, and you can think, you think very clearly and quickly and come up with solutions, and you can figure this out very quick. So what I'm doing currently is, eventually I started full scaling, selling all kinds of things locally on OfferUp and Craigslist, stuff like that. I started buying all kinds of things. I would go online on websites, like Chinese websites, like if you ever heard of DHgate, AliExpress, Alibaba. I would buy stuff on there for really cheap, brand new products, wholesale, and I would just put them for sale. And I'd buy them for $1 each, something like that. Sometimes sell them for $10, $15, $20, some $50, or more, depending on what I bought. And sometimes I even started going to yard sales. I would go to yard sales and buy stuff for people. I remember I bought a San Diego Chargers grill, like a chrome grill. I bought it for $20 and I flipped it for $60 in the same day. Okay? So yes, I'm talking about flipping right now. But what this does, like I said, is I believe, at least from my experience, it opened my mind to understand that I can make money off of selling something instead of just going to a job. You know, when you work at McDonald's and you're flipping hamburgers for them and you're packing up all these burgers, imagine every time you pack a burger, you made $1 for them, or 80 cents, or whatever their markup is when they sell that cheeseburger. Yet they're only paying you $8 an hour instead of you getting the $1 per cheeseburger that gets sold, or the pack of fries, or whatever. So they're making way more money than you are, and you're just sitting there making a measly $8 an hour and selling your life away to a corporation that doesn't give a damn about you. So it's something you want to think about. If that's not the route you want to go and you want to change your life, learn to become an entrepreneur. Learn to make your own money. There are ways to do it. So what I'm doing currently right now is I eventually, what I started doing is I started visiting the swap meet over here as well. I would go find things over there. There's many places where you can go to find stuff to flip. Very easy. Look for something, find out how much it goes for, buy it dirt cheap from somebody, sell it for what it goes for. That's how you profit. You profit the difference. So, like I said, I go to the swap meet, and eventually I ran into a guy over there, and he told me one time that he sold on eBay, which is what I do today. I sell on eBay, and this is my next step that I've taken. This is what gave me, at the moment, financial freedom. So when I learned about eBay, I found out what he would do. He would go to what they call liquidation warehouses, where when you buy something online or in the store and you return it, those products don't go back out for sale again. They go on truckloads in huge pallets and get sold to liquidation companies like what I buy from, and they sell them to you, they sell them to people like me for dirt cheap. You know, you can pay $1, $2, $3 a piece, and you know, you can get a truckload, you can get a pallet, case lots, whatever. You can get different things for a different price, and you can take these products, buy it for 10, 15, 20% of the cost, 25% of what they're worth, and sell them for more. So what I do is I've created a structure. I'm not going to go into it too much, but I've created a structure where I was able to buy these pallets of products. I'd buy electronics, I'd buy home goods, I'd buy sporting goods, all kinds of stuff. I sell a wide variety of things, everything you can think of. And I buy them from them, and I post them online for sale. And I try to post as many as I can each day. And what that created for me, and what it taught me even more, is that I can sell more beyond outside just my local area. That you can sell online. If you haven't seen on the OfferUp app on your phone, you can actually sell stuff, not internationally, but domestically across the United States. So you can sell things anywhere, right? So you have options. You have things to teach you this, and to be honest, that is the best way to learn. If you don't understand anything about business and you want to learn to make money when you want to make it, try it. See if it works for you. I'm not going to say it will or will not, but what I want to try to promote a philosophy or an idea to you guys, like I said before, is I want to help people understand that there is more out there than just going to work. The only reason you see it as the only option is because, for one, you got that box on your head and you haven't taken it off, so you don't see that there's other ways to make money. And two, you are accustomed to what your life has created for you because you're so used to it. You're accustomed to it, so you think that's the only way of doing things, but it's not. You have options. So, I have plans. I actually plan to start my very own company very soon. I may talk about it more in another video, and I actually plan to put more videos out for you guys. I know this is kind of a very long video, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about, which I hope to continue putting more videos out there. I hope I get some sort of reaction from people on here too. Maybe even go on YouTube and go all over the place, Instagram and everything. And the reason why I'm here is I really want to push the idea that, there needs to be a middleman between you being a worker and pushing you to become an entrepreneur. There's nobody in the middle there getting you to that first step. There's a lot of people, if you haven't seen on Facebook and all over the place, that will sell you a course. They'll sell you something and say, hey, go through my course and pay X amount of dollars, $1,000 or whatever, and you'll learn how to do this. And then I've done that, and you go through it, and sometimes you don't end up doing anything with it because you don't understand, because you have the box on your head. You have to have that middle guy, which nobody, as far as I've seen, I've watched many different people. I know about all these guys, all these big gurus and everything. I haven't seen one person that's trying to do what I'm doing. And what I want to do for all of you out there is I want everybody to know that all it takes is that first baby step. Take that first baby step, and you know, you can go further. And no one helps anybody with that first baby step. And to me, that first baby step is getting that box off your head. Get it off your head and you will see potential. If you don't do that, you will always continue on the same path. It's just like how they say, if you have never heard the phrase or whatever you want to call it, where they say that we're all cattle, that humans are like cattle. We all continue on the same path. Nobody does this. Nobody veers off. Very few people do, but most people don't. They all continue on the same path because nobody wants to be different. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I even held back on making a video because, you know, I don't feel, you know, always the most comfortable. A lot of people don't feel comfortable in front of a camera. But I remember that I had several years of practice of talking to people in front of a camera when I did Twitch live streaming. So it helps me a lot more now. And not only that, but my drive to want to help other people to understand this, I think is very important. Because I don't feel like there's enough people out there telling anybody that, you know, you can achieve more. And trust me, there's way more that I can talk about to get you to understand more. I just wanted to, even though this is kind of a long video, I wanted a brief, somewhat summary introduction of the philosophy that I want to try to promote. And what that is to think different. In order to think different, you need to be different. Okay? So remember that. You can't ever be different than what you are currently. I can't ever be different, you know, of when I was working for jobs and stuff like that, or even when I drove for Lyft and Uber. I will never be different if I don't change something and be different. So I chose to be different when I emailed Ed back. That's what changed my life. And I obviously changed it for myself, but he helped me get the box off my head, and so did learning to sell something. So try it. Let me know what you guys think. And you know, I hope that this video is informative. I apologize if it's too long. Like I said, it's my first time putting out a video. I got a lot to say. I've never put out a video before, so this is completely raw footage, other than the little, I'm gonna have to make a little cut scene because I kind of blanked out on something I was trying to tell you guys, so I'll have to edit that a little bit. But aside from that, it's a pretty raw video. And I want it to be raw because I want it to be real. I want you guys to understand that, you know, this is real. It's not a joke, and most people just don't see it. And I wanted to try to help people open their minds. And maybe if you guys can comment or like, share, whatever. If you guys wouldn't mind sharing it, I would appreciate it. But I want to try to be that person and continue to grow, because like I said, I would consider myself intermediate. I'm still learning. I'm not a professional yet, but I have learned way more than the average person to say that I qualify enough to give a particular set of details or information that can help you at least get started. And the longer you wait, the more you stay at your job, and the more you keep depending on your 401k and all these things to save you, I can promise you, by the way it sounds, those won't save you in the future. You will always struggle and you will always be poor. And if you don't want to be poor anymore, just like I don't want to be poor, and I promise you that I will not always be poor. I'm not rich yet, but I am changing it every single day, and I will make the changes that are necessary to help my family, and I plan to help the world. I plan to make all kinds of things better for everybody, and I want to continue to coach people or give them advice, because I know there's so many people that struggle with this. I'm sure many people have thought about this and they thought, hey, like maybe I can do something, but I just don't have the motivation, or maybe they can't get the motivation from somebody else. Like maybe learning from somebody who's not all the way up there, that doesn't intimidate the crap out of you, maybe that kind of person could be me. And if I can be helpful to other people, I would be more than glad to, put some live videos out there, go live, I should say, put some more videos out. If there's something that maybe you guys wondered or you had a question on, I'll try my best to answer that based on what I know. Like I said, I'm continuing to learn every day, but I feel like I have a pretty good idea of, where people should be in life, or where I should be, because I know where I want to go. I already know. But you guys need to figure out where you want to go. And for the people that, like I said, are at a job and you hate what you do, those are the people that I want to talk to. Those are the people that I'd love to share ideas with and collect thoughts. Like I said, if this video can be informative to you and help out in some sort of way, I'd love to continue creating more. So I know it's really long, but if any of you guys watch it through and you hear my whole story of everything that I'm telling here, I hope it means something to you, and I hope I can help in some sort of way, like I said. And if you guys have any questions, you can like or comment below, and I'll do my best to answer them, and maybe I can create a video if you guys have any ideas or something you want to learn. So thank you guys for listening, whoever does. Like I said, it's really long, but hopefully you enjoy the video. So thank you guys very much, and hopefully I'll see you again next time. All right, guys, take care.